So Teal has a number of questions from some therapists who can't attend that we're going to go through. I have a few as well. And then with remaining time, any therapists who are on the line who didn't get their questions answered can then pose them to you. So, I just want to tell my McKibben and Monty therapist, Richard, by the way, I'm Sarah. It's nice to meet you face to face.
Nice to meet you.
But so to our therapist, thank you so much for hanging in there this week. I know it's been a lot, but a lot of you have been you know, very proactive and seeking out help from us and from the support team, and that's been great. And from Teal and Karen, that's what we want you to do. And it's also been for me kind of a fun time to get to know some of you a little bit better, because I don't get to see many of you at all, really. So thank you for hanging in there this week. It will be smoother sailing now going forward, especially now that you're getting some of your questions answered here. And I think it will just get easier from here on out. So I'm not seeing Jenny and Cindy. I'm not sure why. So Richard, I wasn't sure if it would be too much for my computer if I was recording this, hosting the meeting, and remote connecting to you and trying to screen share. Oh, there's Cindy. Hi.
Hi there. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, therapist. Hi, team. So Jenny is just jumping on. We had to download Zoom onto our new computer. So I just wanted to give you a little touch base on a couple of different things before Richard jumps in. One is that keep in mind, as you all have issues, which we know it's been a challenging week, but hey, we made it through the week and we're thrilled with that. Next week's going to look so much rosier. But I want to let you know that if you have a question, immediately reach out to Teal or Karen. If you cannot get a hold of them, Sarah or I. If those don't work, call Practice Perfect. They will help you out. Don't get stuck and get frustrated. We can work through all of this and really, truly, really feel like we've worked out the big bugs with our links and some of those inconsistencies that really in the setup process were throwing us off. So we feel like we've worked through that, and next week's going to look great. In addition to that, I just want to give you that background, but in addition to that, I want to touch base on one other area that was not included under our notes because we did not review it in any of our trainings with Practice Perfect, but some of you are having issues with your clients seeing your progress notes. When you go under the progress note icon on the top of your screen, you click on that, it will pull up your progress notes. In the far right corner, there is a box that says portal. That needs to be checked off on each one of those progress notes in order for those to be sent to that parent portal for them to see those notes. If you cannot see that box because the format of your computer does not allow you to see a box along the right-hand column, then you need to call Practice Perfect and they will help you so that we can get that line of boxes on your screen and you can check it off. When I went in last night to look at a lot of your notes in all the different cities, I will tell you that probably 90% of our parents or 99% of our parents are not seeing your notes from this week because none of those boxes were checked off.
So Cindy,
yes,
when I had been practicing with like test clients and stuff, and I actually talked to Sarah about this morning, that box didn't show up for me the whole time either. The first time I even saw that box was when I added my clients for this week. So that's why it's not actually that whole process of clicking the print button to check those boxes. That was my concern point. If you remember, like, are the parents going to see the goals?
Right.
Because Kara Willis had emailed about that, and that box, that screenshot that she sent is also what I saw the entire time I was practicing until I got my official clients in. And there's no way to scroll or move over or change your settings because I didn't change anything with mine either. And now I'm able to see them.
Interesting. So if you all will just do that check of your system when you're on there and make sure when you go under that progress note icon at the top, you pull up the progress notes under your clients, that you can see that box. If for some reason you cannot see that box, we need to Practice Perfect needs to help you out.
So I could probably clarify that as well.
Great.
You know, the reason why you may not have seen it is because there is a certain web link. You've had an update since then. So the old link didn't actually have that portal box. So now there's an updated link where everyone should go to the one link, because that link will always take you to the updated version. And if you go to, I think you may have bookmarked the older link.
Richard, so we only send out the correct one to them, to the shorter one. So I think it's a little confusing to talk about old links and new links. They've only had one.
Okay.
And so we can, as those instances come up, either I can help them to clear things out, or I'll have them reach out to you guys to do that. But yes, I think that was maybe part of the problem, but either way, I think it's best for everyone to get in the habit of something like that being kind of technically difficult to deal with, to go directly to you guys.
Sounds good.
Great. So I think what we'll do to get through things efficiently, we've got a list of questions that came through, Richard. Tila, I'd love you to present one of those at a time. And Richard, we can screen share and help us problem solve these issues that seem to be kind of across the board.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions that's been sent through multiple times is when on some of the clients that therapists are trying to schedule, there's an error popping up, failed to book appointment scheduling. This provider type is not allowed for this incident. And when I jumped on with Sarah Zaz earlier this week, I was able to schedule all of her clients except for one. So it's not happening with every client, but I also had a problem with one of my clients too, with the scheduling.
Okay, so for the provider type, if that error message is coming up, I'd have to look at that specific example. What's happening is that Practice Perfect is not allowing you to schedule because there is a specific provider type required for that specific incident. And that's not matching. So that one of the provider type for that specific provider doesn't match what's allowed.
So
Okay.
Teal, we actually figured that one out. That
okay,
is
gotcha.
something on our back end we were entering incorrectly at first. We weren't aware of that. And so now we've taken this specific provider type out
Okay,
of those client accounts. And now those clients are able to be scheduled. So if any of our therapists run across that, they need to reach out to me or Cindy.
okay.
And Jenny too, but I think she's probably busy with billing, but we can take care of that immediately.
Okay. And then the other one that one of the therapists questioned was that I accidentally completed a note under the wrong client and signed it. Wasn't sure if there was any way for me or anyone else to delete the note.
So that would be dependent on the security settings you have set up. There should be an authorized user in Practice Perfect that does allow for the deletion of progress notes. So that would have to be done by that specific user.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
if that happens for anybody, please reach out to Jenny or Sarah and I, actually Jenny and I in this case, and we know how to eliminate that note. So Richard, my question for you, is there any way of cutting and pasting what they have already created then and put that under another therapist or under a different client?
What you can do is you can open up 2 instances of like Practice Perfect, and then you can copy and paste that way. So
So correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, because I actually had this problem yesterday where I created a note and I accidentally deleted it, but I guess that was for the same client, so never mind.
yeah, so you can open up. Do the therapists primarily use the web web version, I'm
Yes,
assuming?
yes.
Okay, so you can open up two tabs of Practice Perfect, and then you can copy and paste from one to the other. So you can open up both.
Does anybody want to see that? Richard can share my screen. Does anybody want to see that? Or maybe that's a single incidence? Let's move forward, and then maybe we'll come back to that. Richard, I don't know how often that would happen.
Sure, no problem.
Can I jump in just with a quick question, kind of related to, and this is maybe more for McKibben and Monty. So what do therapists actually have access to delete or remove? So are we able to delete any documents, progress notes, fee codes, diagnosis codes? That was a question that came up.
You know, Karen, I think that maybe Sarah, add in if you need to. There was an issue with diagnosis codes. We understood some of you could not access, check off the ICD-10 code that would apply for your client. We have gone in and given you permission to do that now. So that is something that you can modify or modify and select the ICD-10 codes. As far as deleting notes, or changing notes after you've already charged a client, those are all things that we will need to jump in as administration and change for you.
Right, if it's already been signed, but what about like a progress note that somebody just opened it and it was just there, they weren't able to get rid of it?
Let us know. We have not given therapists at this point, don't feel like that's something we need to, we think there'll be more errors by giving that permission. So right now, if we could be involved in each of those cases.
Okay,
But as long as the portal box isn't checked off, it shouldn't be seen by the parent.
Correct.
Can I piggyback off that with that? I had a kid today, or I have no diagnosis code, but I didn't see any way for me to add only fee codes. Like anything, if I click the add button, I only got fee codes, but I don't have any ICD codes under this client. So is there a way for me to add them, or do I have to contact you guys and say, hey, this client has no ICD codes?
So actually, Richard, do you think it's worthwhile just having us give you permission to see the screen, and then we can just show them how to do that?
Sure.
When you share the screen, can you also show us where that portal button is supposed to be?
Sure. So just give me a few moments.
Thank you, because I'm looking and I don't see mine. So
I
I'm
don't
like,
have it
maybe-
at all. So I don't have it on any clients, and
Okay,
so it's not, if you don't have it, you're not the only one. It does not exist in my Practice Perfect.
okay.
Richard,
Thank
would you
you.
like remote access? We're logged in under,
Yes, please. Yes.
okay. Do you know how to do that on the web version?
If you can go to the website logmein123.com.
Say that one more time, Richard.
Sure. It's logmein123.com. If you go to that site, it should say support connection, enter your 6-digit code.
There we go.
And by the way, therapists, this is the same way that you could work with Practice Perfect. They can help you. They can get into your system. It's probably what they'll end up doing for all of those of you who can't see the portal. They can remote access and see what you are seeing.
Okay, Richard, I'm ready for the 6-digit code.
Okay, perfect. That code is 165189. Then click start download. After that download is finished, just run that program afterwards.
I am okaying it.
Okay, perfect. There we go. And then there's going to be one more box that comes up. Just press OK. Should be popping up right about now.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, perfect. So I am now connected. All right, so I'm gonna go into the web portal here.
Okay.
So just to clear, can everyone see the screen, I assume? No?
You'll have to share their screen. Can you do that from?
Yep. Give me a second here. Share screen. Okay, it says host disabled participants share screen sharing. So I'm not sure if somebody can share this computer screen or not. If Cindy can or not.
Just try it again.
Okay.
Does it let you know?
Oh, yep. It doesn't allow me now.
Okay.
Can everyone see the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. All right. So there is one link, as I stated before, to access the web app. This is the one and only link that you should be using to access the web app. It's app.practiceperfectemr.com/v2/McKibben. So this link will never change, but you'll notice as soon as I go to this link, you'll notice at the top, this changes. So the URL changes and there's a little 607 at the top. So if you have another number other than 607, then it's possible you don't have that portal box in there. Okay. So we'll log in here and I'll just show everyone what the portal box looks like. Do we have a client example, Sarah?
Cara, why don't we use your client so we can deal
Sure.
with, is that okay?
Sure, and I am on 607 though.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
YODH, Gouda. He's the one that didn't have a fee code for me to, or diagnosis code for me today, so you could pull him up, maybe two things at once. That's not mine, it's YODH,
There we go.
There he is.
top one.
Got it.
Mhm.
So we're just going to progress. So here's the portal box right here.
Yes, but I don't have it on mine.
Okay. So if you don't have it on yours, I can connect to your computer and I can see why.
Sure, so we can maybe do that after, right?
Yeah, we can
Sounds good.
definitely do that afterwards. Okay, but that's where it is. If anybody knows, sometimes there is a little scroll bar. If your monitor can't display the entire thing, there is a scroll bar down here that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't
allows
have
you-
a scroll bar down there either, and I also have a second monitor that I put it on that's quite big, so
Okay,
it's not a formatting issue on my end. I mean, I tried a few formatting tricks that I know, so it's
Okay.
just not out, it's not there.
sure, no problem. So yeah, I can definitely take a look if that's not showing up.
Sure.
Okay, okay, but that's where it is there. All right.
So we want to go to diagnosis code.
So you're having trouble adding a diagnosis code here?
There wasn't one, so if you,
Oh, there wasn't one. Okay. So to
right, so
add
I
a-
didn't know if I could add a diagnosis, so I went to the little hand to add the fee.
Yeah.
And then there's no diagnosis code there, see, right? I mean, I know how to, if I click the add button, I get to add the fee, but there's no diagnosis code for me to check, and I didn't know if we could add that.
You can add one right here where it says new incident diagnosis, injury body part codes.
So yeah, can you click on that for a second, please? I
Sure.
did do that, and then I was like, what? So, okay,
And you can enter them.
I
on
just go into there. Okay, and then that'll just be on there.
Correct.
And then we could delete the codes and change them if we added it. So
Yes.
theoretically, okay,
As long as you have permission to delete the codes, then you can remove them. It all depends on your security.
okay. Well, that's easy enough.
You have permission.
Okay. So that's how you would add the diagnosis code.
That would be easy. I can do that.
Excellent.
The one thing I'll say too is when you do these, I would recommend adding the diagnosis code first and then the fee code and make sure you check it off, because I've like gone back out and it like made me reselect the fee code. So I just try to make sure those ICD-10 codes are checked first.
And one thing I wanted to clarify too, let's say, for example, we added a diagnosis code here. If you try to check out the diagnosis code first, you'll see there's a little red circle. right? So what you want to do is we always work from the top to bottom. So you want to select the fee code first, add the fee code first, and then select the diagnosis code afterwards. Then it won't be a red circle anymore once you add a fee code. Okay.
Next question.
Okay.
Richard, actually, could you just briefly tell our therapist, what are the specific, not the specific steps, but what are the kind of main steps to finishing the progress note? You open one, you add it. We are requiring goals, so they go in and add the goal. They have to then go add the, the fee code. And then what is the next step to complete that progress note? Some people are saying they can't figure out how to finish it at that point.
To finish it, all it is just changing the status. I don't have because I'm logged in as somebody else, I don't have the ability to solve Kara's note here. Only if you have permission to do so. If you're logged in as yourself, you'll be able to complete your own progress notes, but basically you just have to change the status from incomplete to complete signed.
And at that point, then back on the schedule, they should see the blue folder show up, correct?
That is correct, yes. Once the note is completed and signed, then you'll see the blue folder.
And for our therapist knowledge, when you are able to see the portal box, you really cannot click that portal box for any note until it has been completed and signed.
That's correct.
And when you do click it, there will be a little screen will pop up, a box will pop up with options, and you choose whichever options you want, and that's what your client will see.
So this, I can't upload this because it hasn't been completed and signed. Once it's been completed and signed, then you can click on that box and then choose the options. So whatever options you choose, can we go to a client that has a completed progress note that hasn't been uploaded yet?
Like our test reach client, you should be able to.
Okay, so let's say, for example, I wanted to upload this document to the portal. If I click on this little portal box here, then this gives you the options. So these options here, so if you want goals on the progress notes, you must check off print goals on daily notes. If you don't want the goals on there, then you must leave them unchecked. So whatever formatting you choose here will show up on the client portal. Okay.
Then you have to hit yes, correct? So once you pick it, you hit yes.
Correct, yeah.
Then
Then you hit yes. So if I wanted goals, you check off goals and click yes. And then right away, once it does that, then you know it's sent to the portal and it's available for download.
Okay. Richard, could you please help us describe what the different sections of the box for goals is? So if you went in to create a new progress note, you wrote in there, then you open the goals. Can you describe what the different percentages and all the different columns mean in there?
Sure. So the code here, so if we wanted to add a new goal, for example, the code here is any preset one. So you can predefine or you can set predefined goals, especially if there's goals that you use quite often. A lot of clinics use predefined goals because a lot of clients have similar goals, and instead of typing out the goals all the time, they like to use a preset one. So that's what this dropdown is here for. If there's a specific code that you wish to use a predefined goal, that's what you can use. So you can just choose whatever you'd like, and it automatically populates everything, description, everything else. Otherwise, if you don't want to use that drop down, then you can just add in another goal without using the drop down, and just you can freelance free type in that box whatever you'd like. So that's what that description is. And then the target is basically what target you want want to reach for this client? Do you want to reach 80%? Do you want to reach 100%? So it all depends on what target you want to reach. The goal term column is pretty straightforward. Is it a short term or is it a long term goal? Okay. This is very key as well, the goal begin date. So you want to set when this goal was started. If you set it in the future, for example, if you discuss a future goal with the client, that goal will not show up on the notes because it is a future goal. Okay. So if you want the goal to show up on the actual note, the goal begin date must be today's date or before. It can't be a future date. Okay. The last is basically what percentage it was last time. And then the current visit is basically what happened this visit, what you want to put down, if this was for today, and then the duration and everything. And then finally, if the client has met the goal, you can then just check off the goal was met. When the goal was met, you can specify the date. And then you can also specify a goal end date, so which could be different than the actual met date. So for example, let's say the goal end date was supposed to be March 30th, but the client actually met the goal earlier. Then you can put when the client actually met the goal compared to when it was supposed to end. So that's what each of the columns are here for.
Okay. And then say a therapist has 5 goals listed for this client.
Yep.
But they only want to include 2 of those in the current progress note. Is that something that's possible?
Yes, because in the current visit, you can just put worked on today, update that, and then when you print out the notes, your options, let's sign this note, for example. So I don't have the ability. Let's choose a different note. Hold on. We have the ability on the desktop app, but not print. Yeah, so print goals that worked on. So you have to check that off, and then you have only show goals worked on today. So it's only going to show those goals that you checked off today on that current visit section.
And that option right above it will put them in the objective section, which I think is what
Correct.
most of our therapists would want to do.
Yeah.
And this is, and then this box, this is what the parents would see in the portal.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about goals. So let's say you have a new client, you're going to write a treatment plan.
Yes.
And so I went in to look at all the different documents that there's choices. So there's the speech therapy discharge note and this note, but I didn't see one for treatment plan. Either I'm not looking well, or I don't know where it is.
Um,
Jenny, didn't you just tell me to go ahead and put the goals in the goals section, not necessarily on a treatment plan?
Yeah, when we had talked about this, you guys had said since we were putting the goals into the system, that kind of takes over the need to have an actual document like we used to.
Also on a side note here, you really don't want to use the forward and back options here. You always want to navigate through the web app using the navigation here at the side. So that's
good to know.
Yeah. So that's why it kind of froze like that. So you always want to just use navigation through here rather than these buttons here.
Good to know.
Good.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that too, with just using those goals. If we did not have a treatment plan put together, which I don't think we did, Sarah, that was not one of the one that they customized for us, then let's go ahead and use, just stating the goals in the progress note, I think is sufficient. I agree. Good question.
Thank you.
Other que-
Now I
other-
know.
Yeah. We'll clarify that with everyone. Other questions?
I have another one from Lauren. She has a specific client, so we may need to log in as Lauren Baird.
Okay.
So we'll need to get her password.
I'll let you log in.
Give me a second. While I'm doing that, any other questions for Richard?
I have a couple more that people had sent.
Okay,
So one was when I hit print to download
Mhm.
On a note to see it, she doesn't get an option to save it as a PDF. It's a different print screen on her Mac, but she can open it in Adobe. Is that okay to use if I need to download and send it directly to a parent, like for an initial evaluation?
If it's a PDF file, I don't see why not.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
Yeah.
Right. And then something that was asked if you could review while you have a screen share going was how to bring forward a note, like how to bring forward sections of a note into a new note so you can edit from there.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
when you go into the SOAP and you click that little
Yep.
the blue lined button,
Okay.
you could show that. And then Karen, I had the same problem with you when I went to put a fee code on. Do you remember how you had multiple fee codes popping up, like 5
Yes.
of them?
Yes.
Okay, that happened to me with a client as well. So I guess my question there, I don't know if it was a bad connection, but the client that it happened on, it was an initial session. And it was like my computer froze up or something because I got a lot of spinning. And then when it stopped spinning, I had like 5 fee codes attached to it. And I
mine
couldn't
was
edit
an
or
initial.
change it.
Mine was an initial session as well, and Richard had to go do his magic for me with that
All right.
situation.
Okay.
okay. Teal,
Yes.
who is the client for Lauren?
It was Amelia Novak with an N. So she said that when she's trying to complete the note, she gets a message that says, warning, not all sections are completed, and she can't figure out what is missing.
Okay. Did you want me to take over from here?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is it this note right here?
It must be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just see. So she doesn't have anything in the objective written down.
So do we actually have to write a sentence in there if we are going to be pulling the goals in, but we have to write in there?
So
Yeah.
I have left sections blank and that warning pops up, but it's just letting you know that part of that SOAP won't show up in your note. So because I only use the assessment section and then the added goals. So I get that warning every time I go to sign it because it's saying like there are boxes empty, but I know that they are.
Yeah.
Because I don't need them to show up in my note.
Is that correct, Richard? So do we need to write something in there if we're going to pull the note?
You don't know. You don't need to write anything.
I'll let her know that was just a warning and not an error that would keep her from going forward.
Mhm.
Next question.
I had a question from someone that was wondering if, so if we send like a document and it's in the parent portal, are the parents able to print from the portal? Or can they download the information in order to print?
So they would have to download, they can't print directly from the portal, they'd have to download that document
Okay,
either way, and that document would be a PDF file, and then they would print it. So either way, they would have to download it.
okay.
So they'd have to download it to open it, and then they can print it from there.
And then do you want to point out the box where you can pull up previous notes?
Yes, so to pull up previous notes, for example, you just have to go into the section that you want to pull a previous note from, and then there's a little box here at the very end that allows you to pull any previous ones. There's nothing in here because this is Lauren's first progress note for this client, but if she had a previous client or previous notes, then you'd be able to select which one you wanted to. So we can go into the test one, and the test one should be able to do that. So if we go into test reach, for example, let's go into the incomplete one. And then you can click on this box and you can select which one. There's dates right beside it too, whichever subjective section you want to pull from. So if you want to pull from the last one, which is 222, then you can put testing again. Same thing with
The other thing too is you have to click on each separate section for it to pop up from the previous notes for that section. So one section at a time. I thought it was going to pull up everything at once.
No, it's one section at a time. Yeah.
Yep.
Is there,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Richard, I was going to suggest, can you just show them where they can pull up? Is there a place that they can pull up all of their notes to see which ones were complete and which ones are incomplete? Or is it under each client that they would need to do that to make sure that they have completed the process with all of them?
So there is a report that says progress and status, document and progress note status. So this report will be able to show you which ones, but you can choose it for the provider. Do you want me to choose a specific provider? I don't want to put.
Sure, you can just put Teal's name is fine, Teal Simmons,
Teal
Okay.
Simmons, yep.
Okay, and let's just say from the beginning of January, and then you can just press download. And then it will save it as a PDF. You can open this, and then this will be all the outstanding ones, not just outstanding, but also the completed ones as well. You can filter this report just to say just missing rather than completed and signed. So you can do a lot of things. It also tells you if it's incomplete or not. You can filter that to state just incomplete if you wanted to.
Right, and how, can you show us how we filter that?
Yep, absolutely. So if you just wanted to do incomplete, there's this little status drop down here. You can just choose to be incomplete, incompleted, and document types all, and then you can just press download again. So this also includes just progress notes and documents. So the progress notes and documents are different. So we call these, the ones in the blue, we call these progress notes, and anything under the documents. So these would be like your evals and everything.
Mhm.
So this, for example, will just show the incompleted ones. So these are just the incompleted ones for Teal.
Great.
Thank you.
Karen and Teal, was that it for the questions that you had from therapists? Because I know there's a few other floating around for people who are on the call today.
One more that I have is, how do I pull up a progress note that is written to read it or download it? She said, when I try, I see a line showing there is a note, but cannot click on the box or double click to open and read it. It was my understanding that you had to click and then select edit to be able to see any previous notes.
Sorry, you're wanting, sorry, I'm not understanding the question here.
So if you say you go back to your notes.
Yep.
She wants to know, how do I, like, if she wanted to see a full progress note that she wrote in the past,
Okay.
either to read it or to download it.
Okay.
She said when she tries, she sees a line showing the note, but she says she's not able to click on the box or double click to open or read it. When I had asked that question before, I was told that we can only pull up an entire note to see the whole thing or to download it if we click the edit button.
Yeah, you have to click the pencil to edit it.
Okay.
Teal, did you address Owen's
Huh?
situation?
Well, unfortunately with the web app, like double clicks don't really work. It works with desktop applications, but double clicks don't necessarily work well with web applications. So that's why you're kind of forced to click this button in order to go into it.
Jenny, what did you ask me?
Have we addressed Ellen Stakely's?
So Ellen's questions were
Yeah, I looked, Teal, we addressed them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted
Uh-huh.
to make sure. Elaine, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any questions for Richard?
I had encountered, is it possible, like we were having a little bit of trouble when we were both trying to do our notes for the co-treat session. Is there anything differently we should do when that's the case for a kiddo?
You know what, Richard, I'm going to pull up the client under Elaine if you'll just give me a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Okay.
And while we're waiting, I just wondered, do we have any restrictions of where we're able to log in? So are we able to log in like with a public unsecured site such as Panera or someplace like that?
So we don't put any restrictions on that.
Okay.
Our web server is very, very secure.
Okay.
So like you can work at a Starbucks if you wanted to. You can work at a Panera if you wanted to. Everything's secure on our end, but it's up to you to kind of secure it on your computer in your.
Okay.
Richard, this is Jenny. How do I log out from the previous therapist without leaving and get it on?
You actually have to leave.
Oh,
like,
here. Sorry, it was covered.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was covered by mine.
Yeah, I was covered. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
You have a question, Heidi? Would you like to ask your question while we log in?
Cindy, it's hard to hear you. Who were you talking with?
Do you want to go ahead and ask your question as we log in?
I can ask a question while you guys are logging in.
Sure.
When I go to add or when I go into schedule my kids and add a like their OT, like when I go to hit new appointment and I go to schedule them, I'm putting in like their time, like 30 minutes, but then I get this box when I go to hit save. It says expiry time missing. I want to know how I can like make sure that they save, but make that box go away.
Are you familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with that. if somebody can kind of replicate that for me, then I'd be able to tell you what's going on.
Okay, let's, we'll do that after we go through Annika, the client that is seen by both OT and speech. Tracy, are you on too?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay, Tracy and Elaine, why don't you explain to Richard, and I have the client up, Richard.
Okay.
Well, we both see her. We each see her one time on our own, and then we see her once a week together.
Okay.
But I think it was getting kind of messy when we were trying to, obviously we have a lot of units in here, mainly under me, and that's not supposed to be under there. So that's where we were getting a little confused when we were trying to add the fee codes.
Oh, just about the units?
Yeah, and then if we could bill at the same time, is that possible? Add 2 fee codes for the same time?
You can add 2 fee codes for the same time, yes.
Okay.
For each of your notes, just attach it to each of your notes.
Yeah.
I can help you through the fee code on that.
Okay.
I can help you with that. You know,
Yeah, you should be able to enter in any fee code. So just go into the note that you want to go into. And then just press on the hand button, and then you can just enter in whatever you'd like.
Okay.
there's a code treating.
Oh, there is a co-treating one? I
Yeah.
hadn't seen one. Okay.
I will start to take it to the top.
Does that answer that question for everyone? Or no? Are we still working on that client?
Elaine, Tracy, any other clients, Elaine, that you want me to pull up while I'm in your, using your
I
password?
mean, no, I think you guys will just have to help me fix Annika, because I think she's, she'll need fix. But I mean, I have Owen Barnhouse. He still pops up as like in home on my schedule, but he's seen in a clinic. Or at
We
day.
can handle that.
You can
Okay.
fix that? Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Richard,
And-
could you, I don't know if we can do it on this client or under this login. So this is Elaine's login, but Jordan had the question about the schedule. Is it possible to just look at the schedule and see what is required when you're putting a new appointment on? I'm not sure what the expiry time is. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't quite, because I might add an appointment differently than everyone else. So if somebody can kind of show me what happens.
So do it.
And while you're making an appointment, can you show me how to make it recurring, or will it just be
Great.
recurring?
Yeah, I can show you how to make it recurring.
I think that's where you see that expiry date needed, because I think I was on the phone with Karen, I can't remember, or Sarah. But when you put recur, I marked that it would occur every 1 week, but that's where you need an end date. So I can't remember who I talked to said, maybe it was Karen, that we just put a date like end of June, just a random, like a couple months out, and then it accepted it.
Right. So I think that's exactly the case. So if you're not putting an end date and you're recurring the appointment, it does require an end date. So it can't just reoccur forever. So it does require an end date. I think that's probably
Richard, do you want to take over making this appointment just of a test client? We can remove it. Do you book your, there's 2 ways. This is the shortcut to schedule a client, is a right click in the, you go on the schedule. I'll let you show them that quick, Richard, because I think that's an easier way of doing that if you're not doing it.
Yeah, so you can right click and then you can press new appointment. You can also just click on the green here, green plus sign. It's the same thing. So either way, that's how you can add appointments. I find it easier if you just go on the schedule, choose the time you want, and then just right click and then choose new appointment.
So let's just go ahead and put a test client under here, and we can,
Okay.
we can see where that comes out.
So I'll put test reach in here. And then, do you want me to reoccur this appointment?
Yes.
So let's do reoccurrence. So let's say this appointment recurs on these days of the week. Let's just say Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's going to occur until, let's say, March 31st. Give me a second here. March 31st. And then you can just click save. And then that will reoccur the appointment.
What if it's every other week? What if a client is seen every other week?
So
Can you do it recurring?
unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have every other week. The only types of occurrences we have are, give me a second here. So we only have it every, actually, sorry, we do have every, occurs every 2 weeks. We
Okay.
do have every other week. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So you can put this appointment occurs every 2 weeks. You can also do it on a certain day of the month, which I don't think it would ever happen, but we do have that option. And then we have occurs on the second week of each month as well.
Perfect.
But yeah, we can do every 2 weeks. So my apologies. You can do it every 2 weeks.
So after, like, let's say you get to the March 31st end date, but like you're not done with therapy yet, are you just go back in and like re-add it?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Or
Yep.
if I just say like, if I pick like some random date in the future and then somebody else on like Cindy and Jenny on their end can delete it once
Correct,
they're
yeah.
discharged or something. Okay.
That's right. I don't know if this person, this person does have the ability to delete appointments. So you can right click delete. So let's say, for example, I'll show everyone this. I'm not sure if everyone has the ability to delete appointments, but let's say, for example, it was a very short treatment and the treatment ended on Monday, February the 13th, and you want to delete the rest of the schedule. You just have to right click on delete appointment. And then if you want to delete all recurrences, you just click off this box and then leave this date blank. I know this is the text is a little confusing, but basically you just want to check off that box, leave this blank, and then click confirm. It's going to delete all the future ones after that.
And Richard, I may be imagining this, but isn't there a color code or isn't there an indication that this is the last appointment scheduled and they don't have any future ones scheduled?
There is, yes. So when there is the very, very last appointment scheduled, the text goes into italics.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But I think test reach may have some extra ones pending. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. That's why it's not the last.
Okay.
Heidi?
Yeah.
Is Heidi on?
Yeah. I'm here.
Would you like to ask me to pull up your screen and Richard, you can ask Richard a question?
Sure. I have
Okay.
questions. I don't know if we necessarily need to look at mine, but we can.
Okay.
The first question I had was, I was trying to import a document to attach to my note for a parent for homework. And so I was kind of playing around with it. And I think I figured out how to do it, but I had some mistakes in there and I wanted to delete those documents. Can I delete those? The ones that I don't want in there?
You can, as long as you have permission. So as long, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we'd have to tell you, Heidi. I don't think we weren't sure that we wanted everyone. We didn't know what the implications would be. So right now, people do not have that capability, you can always let us know and we can delete them. But over time, if we think that it's something we want to give everyone permission to do, we can make that change.
Okay.
Heidi, I have your screen up. Is there a client that you would like to share?
Sure, you can look at Theo.
Okay.
Because he was one, somehow I went in on his like home page, if you will, and I added his goals under the little target. And then when I went to do my note for 2/7, the goals were not in there. So is there a way to pull them to a note if you accidentally put them in the home page and not in a particular weekly note? Does that make sense?
Okay. Richard, I have this client of Heidi's up.
Yes. The goal, let me see where the goals are.
Because I ended up having to re-enter them all in his note on the 7th.
Right. So goals basically are incident based. I'm not sure what you mean by the home page. But as long as you've entered them in, it doesn't have to be through the progress note. Like you can do goals this way as well. Like you can add a new goal for a different service date here, even without having a progress note. So as long as the dates match, then they should show up on the progress note.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I apparently entered them in a place that was not in the note on the 7th. And then when I went to print my note on the 7th, those goals did not come in, and I had all the boxes checked, but the goals did not transfer into the objective section. So I just wasn't sure how to find those in case I do that again. Or like say I wasn't ready to do my note, but I wanted to go ahead because I had some time and enter my goals in. And then when it was time to do the note, pull them over to the note. Like I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Okay.
Maybe if you go to Gemma's, Jenny, because I haven't done her yet.
Sure.
Go to Gemma.
Good.
You can always type their last name as well if that makes it easier.
Okay.
There she is. Oh, you passed her.
Got it.
Okay.
My mouse is a little temperamental too.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Richard.
No problem.
Okay, here she is.
So, okay, that wasn't the screen I was talking about. Okay, so I don't know. If you click on the little target thing.
Okay, yep.
If I go to plus sign and add my goals in, I'm not in my note for 2/7. I'm just in some blank place. You know what I mean? Like a home screen. So then when I go to do my note, how do I pull those over to it?
So they should show as long as they are the same date as the progress note.
Okay, maybe I just need to play around with it more, but I couldn't figure it out, so I had to rewrite 9 goals.
So
So
Richard,
this service date is from the 10th, but I
Right.
think the progress note was the 7th, right?
I didn't do hers yet because she's
Oh,
new.
I see. I'm sorry. Okay.
But I'm just trying to give an example of like where I was entering these notes, and then when I did go to do the progress note,
Yeah.
it was showing in there because it wasn't
we do-
under that date.
Let's try another test client and do that, Richard, and see if
Sure.
we can just show her how that shows up. If you don't mind?
Yeah.
That'd probably be helpful for everybody.
I mean, I don't want to take everybody's time trying to figure this out, but
It's always best though to enter goals right through the progress note. So like, it's not really like you can do it this way, but it's always best just to do it through the progress note. Like you can always create the progress note early, right? So if you know you're going to do a progress note regardless, then you can always add that progress note, then add the goals on top of that. That would be my recommendation, rather than kind of, because I don't really want to show everybody to create
Okay.
goals this way, because it's kind of bad practice to do so. It's always best to always add the goals through the progress notes.
So Heidi, I've done that too this week, like where I wasn't quite ready to complete the entire progress note, but I still clicked on that appointment and then add new progress note.
Yep.
And then when I was in there, what I did was I just clicked the target and added the goals. And that way it automatically has those goals in there when I go back to do it for that service date. What I think might have happened is when you did it from that other screen, that service date, like you might have entered it a day later maybe, so it didn't match the appointment date, and that's why it wasn't showing up when you went to write a note on that appointment date.
Okay, maybe that's why he has a 2/8 date listed. in
That
there.
is probably
That's
why,
why.
because I
That's why.
actually, I wrote a note the following day, and that same thing happened to me, so I had to
Okay.
go back in and write a new note with the correct service date,
Okay,
and
Yeah.
that fixed the issue.
okay, thank you, Teal, that clears that up. Okay, my other question is, and this might be a Jenny and Cindy question. Can we update our goals like spontaneously? For example, I might have a goal in there for a kiddo working on a certain sound at the word level, but I show up and oh my gosh, they had 100% at word level. So immediately I'm going to switch to sentence level. So on my note, my goal is going to be sentence level and not word level. So can I just change that like on a whim?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you recall, when Richard brought us through, it's making sure that you're dating, the day that the word level sound was met, and then you can add the new goal for sentence level.
Okay. Okay, I'm trying to go quick. I had a couple others. Okay, when you get to that box that has the diagnosis description, like one of my kids said something like speech and language and fluency and artic, like there was a whole bunch of stuff listed. And then another one just had something real simple. Like they were both artic clients, but their description was different.
Okay, so I know that one really quickly. All of your incident codes should look the same, whether you're speech or OT. We've grouped them under one incident, so it is a generic incident. It should all look the same. But will you send me the one that does not look like the ones you see up here on the screen? And we'll make that change on our end. That must be a mistake.
Okay. Then the other thing is a couple kids had 2 descriptions in there, but I'm only working on one thing. Is it okay that I'm only clicking one thing and the other one's kind of being ignored?
So are you talking about for the speech, we have the R479 and then either an F882?
I don't know what the numbers were.
The
But like
IC
one kid had an artic, like a speech description, and then also had an expressive language description.
Right.
But I'm only
Okay.
focusing on artic. I'm not even doing the language anymore. So is it okay that I'm only focusing on one thing and ignoring the other?
Will you just let us know who that client is, and I will address it. There shouldn't be
Hey
change.
Cindy, we can't hear you.
Will you just tell me that client, and I will address that. There should not be change.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then this is a Sarah question. When I pull up my note to view like what the parent is going to see, at the bottom, my signature did not show up. Is it supposed to show up? Like, it had my name, but the line was blank. It didn't have my signature.
It should show up. I've been getting a lot of signatures, and you sent me yours, right? I think I remember modifying it.
Did you complete complete sign? Did you change the status?
Yes.
It won't show up in the parent portal until it's complete sign. So I'll go back and look at your account. It should be showing up. Richard, is there any reason why a signature wouldn't pop if it's in their account?
Nope, it should show as long as it's, yeah. As long as
If you go back to Theo and pull him up and hit the little print icon, you'll see what I'm saying.
Okay, give me a second.
Or any of my kids.
Let me just take a look on the back end as well while
Yeah.
make sure the signature is there.
Okay, I have him pulled up.
Click the little printer.
Okay. Okay. Being under Heidi.
Mm-hmm.
I just click on the pencil there. Click on the pencil. And then you can click on the printer icon. And then click download. And then open that PDF there. Let's see if that signature is there. At the very bottom.
Oh, it's there now. Okay. Yay! It wasn't there when
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Yay! Okay, my last question is, okay, 2 more questions. Can we add our own goals to the drop-down menu? Like, if
Yes.
we get worded a certain way, can we add our, so we can pick that the next time?
Richard showed us that earlier. I can show you that by jumping on with you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question, Jenny and Cindy, are you gonna look at all our stuff and make sure we're doing it right?
We sure are.
That's it. I just want to make sure I'm doing it right.
You guys are doing great. Jordan, are you on?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, would you would you like for me to get into your login to share a client with Richard?
Yeah, sure. I was just typing in a question into the chat, so that'd be good.
Okay, all right, give me a second.
Yeah, there's a few questions in the meeting chat there.
Oh my God.
Do you want to address those as we're?
We've already addressed them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to
Elaine
type
had
another
one
one in
about
there.
reconfiguring the screen so that the portal button shows, if that
All
was
right,
an issue.
Richard, how do I get out of Heidi's progress note that we showed her signature to log into Jordan?
So it's just a tab in the web browser, so you can just click on the X here to exit it.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. As far as configuring the portal to see the portal box, technically the portal box should show. So if it's not showing, let the support team know. So let Mike and I can have one of my team members call, or I can call myself.
Richard, can you just confirm the best way to contact you and your hours?
Sure. So the best way to contact the support team is to email support@practiceperfectemr.com.
Okay,
or you can call us toll free. You will always have to leave a voicemail though. It's 1-877-510-7473. So you can either call, leave a voicemail, or send us an email. If you don't happen to get a prompt response, I look after the support team. So let either Sarah, Cindy, or Jenny know, and then they'll reach out to me and I'll make sure you are taken care of.
I just didn't jump in. I got my portal box to show up. So
Okay, perfect.
I'm actually I'm on 2 computers, so it was on another computer, and I deleted the bookmark, even though it was the supposedly the current one, went back in and rebookmarked it with the latest thing, and then I cleared my browser and restarted my computer.
Then that did the trick. Okay.
Yes. So I mean, any one of those steps could have done. I did all of them. So, but I do.
No,
I mean,
Kara.
I have a portal box now, so try that.
Woohoo!
It may have been stuck in the cache. So if you cleared your cache on your web browser, it probably was still bringing up the old version. So we may just have to do that with the other users that aren't showing the portal box.
So I have instructions to do that. I can send them out to everyone if they want to just try that first. And Richard, can you also remind everyone the hours of availability for the support team?
Sure. The hours of availability for support team is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time.
And is that Monday through Friday or weekends as well?
Monday through Friday. If there's ever an emergency on the weekend, Sarah, Cindy, or Jenny, you can email me directly, and then I can take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Jordan, the name of your client?
Clay Campy, Kampe.
Okay.
So when I go in to add a progress note, if I went in to add a progress note, on the top right where it says the incident, on my progress note, it's only letting me, even after adding the goal, it doesn't give me like a drop down box to add OT stuff. It still just says speech therapy things.
Just right.
Richard, this is a client that has both speech with a speech therapist and then Jordan OT.
Okay. So they're right now for this particular client, Clay, there's only one incident that exists, which is the speech. So there isn't an OT incident. So we just need to add the OT incident to that.
Now,
Actually, Richard, that is a general incident that we're using for all speech and OT. So there is one, Jordan.
Okay.
So that's correct. Like how it says speech there is correct.
it is.
It says speech. If you look at the extended version, it has speech, social, emotional, fine motor. It's got it all listed.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm not supposed to edit that drop down box then.
No.
Okay, and then when I go into that incident goal and then I add in my goals, hold on a second. Just so when I have to do I have to have a target percentage in there? Because sometimes I just do like 3 out of 4 trials, like 3 out of 4 sessions, or I'll rate them like that. Do we now have to write goals with percentages in them?
So I also have goals that don't have percentages. So I don't actually use that percentage box at all. I just put it in for instance, one of them is will independently request using verbalizations 10 times during a session. So that way I can enter in just that. Like it won't pull anything forward in the percentage box for the last section, but I'm not measuring it with percentages.
Okay, so I can just add those. Okay, perfect. And then I think I just have to play around with it a little bit more, but I just wanted to make sure I kind of freaked out when it said speech and language. I didn't see the other fine motor. Okay. And then I just fill out the rest of that stuff and then automatically hit save, and that'll send it to the family as long as the portal box is checked. Right?
Yeah, and just make sure the goals, anything you're putting like percentages or like, progress with, you're checking that today box so that when you select show goals and objective section, show today's goals, like that will show up there.
Wait, what are you talking about? Sorry, which one? There's so many boxes.
That's okay.
You want to show us on that, Richard? Are you following that? Maybe you can show us instead.
Sorry, which box were you referring?
I was talking about the today box, just making sure that like right next to the current visit. Yep, those.
Right here.
Oh, okay. All right, that box. So I have to click that, and that way it'll automatically populate into the objective section.
When you go to click to add it to your portal.
Yeah. So when I'll show you on the test one. So when you go to click it to add to the portal, you have the ability to print goals on daily notes and then only show goals worked on today.
Okay, so then it'll automatically populate into the objective box. So I don't have to fill out the objective box in my progress note then.
Right.
Okay.
So these two things need to be checked right here.
Show
Actually,
goals objective section. Hold on.
so these two things, as well as print goals. I can't highlight this one as well, but print goals on daily notes as well. So this right here triggers these two to be active. So you can't check on these until you check off the print goals, and then you can.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. And then after, once I go and hit click save on that box, as long as the portal box is checked, the parents can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I'm doing this right.
Okay, we're all, any last minute questions for Richard that you don't think that you can get the answer?
I have one quick question. I am able to figure out how to upload a document like to a client. I don't know what the parents see on there then though. Is there a way to like link it to a specific progress note, or if I'm giving them homework, do I just like reference, such and so homework in documents? I mean, I don't know where it shows up for the parent when I upload.
Sure, it'll be in their portal and you just have to reference it. It
So just
won't
in the
be
note say such and so homework called blah 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 in your portal or something like that.
correct.
Okay.
So Kara, on the documents page, the two papers side by side up there, you have to send something to the portal, just like you would for your
For the
progress.
notes, right? Yeah, I saw. Okay, so okay, thank you.
And then I just needed help with that problem that Karen also had with that initial session fee code ad. So I don't know if I should do that separately or.
I can pull it up for you. Hold on, let me go into your.
I made a new password. Do you need that?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
While you do that, I have a quick question. When I was adding in under fee, I forgot to put the modifier in and the duration, and I am not able to edit that. Is that a permission issue?
That is a permission thing, yes.
Okay. Okay. And then the only other thing real quick is, why is it we cannot see the goals and the objective until we do the preview or the download? Is there a way to, because our assessment or any other things we type show up, but if I do the bullseye, I never see it in my objective until we want
Until
it.
you it's just because the goals are completely separate from everything else.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's why if you want to see the goals and the objective, you have to preview it. So you have to always preview it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, Teal, what client?
It's on February 9th.
Okay, but what
Oh,
client?
sorry. Bryce Kajewski.
With a K?
No, it's an
And- oh,
AJ.
it's a Bryce.
Or Majewski.
Yeah.
Majewski.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
It was just like adding the fee code was the issue for that date. So I didn't know if you wanted to go through the scheduler or not.
Oh, okay.
So he's on the 9th at 9. Yep. So I went in, And then I went to the note that I had done, or
Okay, you don't want to do that. You want to go to his notes.
and then clicked on that and then edit
Click on edit.
Yep.
Just the pencil there.
the pencil, yeah, because that's where I had the fee code. So then I clicked on the hand.
Okay, I'll take over from here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then, so yesterday, when I did this, I had 5 fee codes popping up.
Yeah.
And then after like that happened and I logged back in, it wouldn't let me change any of it.
Okay.
So now that's the correct fee code, but I wasn't able to select the diagnosis codes or save it.
Okay. So all you have to do, because this hasn't been entered yet because the drop down's still here. So the drop down, so it hasn't been entered yet.
Okay.
So you just have to basically select it. And now the diagnosis, you can select the diagnosis. Do you want both?
Yeah.
And then just click save.
Okay.
And then that should process through. But because that was like that before, let's remove this first. So we want to add a 92507. Is it the top one?
The one that says yellow initial speech therapy 30.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And just like
And then
this.
I have to change the location code and the modifier to in office and then GN.
Okay.
And then both of those. Yep. And now it looks good.
Okay. And then just click save, and then that will process through. Actually, why is it processing it through? There might be something on. Let me just check the back end here.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what was happening is like it would let me select all of that, but then when I went to save it, nothing happened, and then it didn't show up with the fee code hand on the actual
I had
session
that
date.
same problem too.
Yeah, I worked through the same problem with Karen the other day, and we got that figured out. But give me 1 second here. So it's something that I might need to look into, because there might be an error that's popping up. But give me 1 second. Oops.
And I know Karen said hers was on an initial yellow session too. Kara, is that when it happened for you also?
Oh, interesting.
Nope, mine was a regular one. And now that I've re-downloaded it, they are working now, but they were my Monday sessions. I had 2 out of the 5 that just would do that, the save, and nothing would happen and no hand would pop up and I couldn't add it, but they are working now. So I don't know if it was.
Yeah, so it's something in the back end here. I'm going to fix it quickly. That's why it wasn't processing through, but give me a second. So if you do experience something like this, let us know. It just had to do with all the treatment locations. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to fix it very, very shortly. Okay. Okay, so now that's in there. So that does work, and the charge is there as well. We
Oh,
can,
if you go back to the scheduler, does the hand pop up? Woohoo.
there you go.
So Richard, that is not something our therapists were doing incorrectly. That was
No.
the system.
It's yeah, it was just something in our system here. Just from all the multiple treatment locations that you had. So if you do happen to run into that, eventually you won't run into that, but there may be a few other times when you run into that.
So
But I'll double check this.
Okay. In general, if a therapist is going to save something or complete something and there's something wrong with that they have not done correctly, do they get a message or a warning or an error?
Not through the web app, because the
Okay.
web app can't Unfortunately, web apps can't, there's limitations with web apps, so it kind of just did what it did, which is basically show nothing. If you did it in the actual desktop application, like if you did the exact same thing, it does kind of spit out an error message. So that's what I did. I replicated it in the desktop application. So
Okay. I think we may have lost Richard.
I think so too.
But this has been a very helpful session. We're going in an hour and a half at this point. We probably should wrap it up for everyone's afternoon, but
Do you have
Yeah.
one question? I know we have to get going here, but when I go in, sorry, I don't mean to like keep going, but on when I do go in on the goals page, do I have to put something in the therapeutic interventions box? And is that something that you put in daily, or is that going to stay throughout the treatment process? Like, is that where I put in like, if they got it that day, like if they met that goal that day, or is it, you guys know what I'm talking about?
So you're saying under progress note. Oh, I gotta go to edit. I gotta go.
If I'm in the progress note and I'm in the, like where you add goals and you click the goals that you worked on for today.
Yep.
The therapeutic interventions under the current visit.
Yes. Here, go.
Is that where I would put like he met in 1 out of 1 trial today with no more than 1 Q, or is that where I put like what my actual intervention was, like therapeutic guidance and modeling, like use of visual supports, like what?
So you're saying under today, you can write anything that has to correlate with that. That is where you put that under today. That's where you document how you're anything in reference to that goal. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so like for the clay, we'll independently assume and maintain a thumbs up position to cut out a line in 3 out of 4 trials. So like he met that goal on Wednesday. So I could say met on
Yes.
met. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And then I can put the goal.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You guys, we are going to have underneath each of these clients where the client is. That's another question, Sarah, that I wanted just to ask him under Bryce. I've put in multiple times that location, and we need to have where these kids are, and it's not showing up still under that location.
so I have to go back and look at that. Some of our treatment locations we found out the other day need to be added back in, and I just have not had time to do that. So that's one possibility. All of the therapists have in their settings have it set so their treatment location should show up on their scheduler. If they see none on any of their clients, they need to let me know, because then there's something that we could probably fix on the back end.
So that's
again,
another thing with that one that I had a funky time with the fee hand scheduler. And I don't know if this was the same for you, Karen, but my location didn't show up for him.
What was
It was Bryce Majewski, and he's at Small Hands, Big Dreams.
that's one of the ones I need to go back and add some, so. Cindy, we discovered this the other day when you were with, you were talking with someone, I think on the phone elsewhere. So I have a list I have to go back and cross-check. I'll get to that soon, so.
helpful? We
Thank
really
you
appreciate
so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If you continue to have questions, which you probably will, like we said, reach out to Tila and Karen, and then Leah should be back soon as well. But Tila and Karen have really been working through this day by day, and then Cindy and Jenny and I can help, and then always support at practiceperfectemr.com is a really, really good resource. So thank you. And this is recorded, so I will get this out for everyone to look at soon. So.
Okay.
Thanks all. Have a great weekend.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Richard. Thank you very much.
Bye. You're welcome.
Thank you.